I just wake up in the morning, just throw it on sometimes. And since I'm wearing sunglasses, I don't ever usually see it until later. I'm like, what the fuck? I put it on with Homer's shotgun. I use fucking Homer's makeup shotgun. Hanging around the back cave, editing a video from some footage I took this morning. And I'm looking through my music stuff, see if anything new came out. And I came across this. It's Metallica from Seattle. Now, I thought it was probably Black Album tour, but it's not. It's on Injustice for All. And that to me was the height of their fucking powers. Injustice for All, though I didn't like it as much as Master Puppets at the time, it felt like an expansion or a continuation. It was a more kind of complex, at least it felt to me as a young fan at the time. It was like their hemispheres. The songs were longer, which didn't necessarily always mean they were better. But I liked that album a lot. I'd seen them on Master Puppets opening for Ozzy on the Ultimate Sin tour. And Ozzy was great, you know. He was fucking drunk, but he was great. It was fun. But Metallica, musically, it just blew him off the stage. Like, Cliff was in the band at the time. He wasn't dead yet. And it was just so fucking... The performance, it felt like there was something happening on a frequency level in that arena. It probably was, you know. But I feel like we were like floating. The whole arena was going to get up and float. It was fucking awesome. And after that, it's like I liked the Garage Days EP. I thought that was cool. A good fill-in thing. And I remember when And Justice for All came out, me and my friends, the thinking was like, holy shit, how did he get his fucking drum pedals that quick? You know, what is he using to do that? And boy, some of these songs are long. So I think the hope for the follow-up album was they just need to shorten some of these songs a little bit. Not all of them. But if they're going to have the long songs, they got to put a few more changes in them. Which is kind of weird because they already had a lot of changes going on. But, yeah, they were coming along fine. Those first 4 albums they're still great, you know? And you can see the progression from each one. Then came the fucking Black Album. And I did not like the fucking Black Album at the time. No one in my crew kind of did. It was like Sellout. It was like Diet Metallica. When I heard Enter Sandman, I was like, what the fuck is this? It was like a joke, like a parody. Like, I'd be serious with this? Hush, little baby, don't say a word. It sounded like Metallica, but if you were to make them for the radio. Now, in hindsight, it was the best thing they could do. Made them huge, you know, of course. But I was one of those old fans who were with them since Ride the Lightning. That's when I jumped on. I missed Kill 'Em All, but of course I went back and knew all about it. But to me, it was a different band. It was a whole different band. It wasn't even the same kind of music. It was like a really dumbed down radio version of their first 4 albums. In the end, I didn't like Unforgiven. I can't stand Nothing Else Matters. It still bores the shit out of me. I like fucking Load more than I like the Black Album, because at least with Load they were trying different stuff. The Black Album is just Diet Metallica. It's like regurgitating all the riffs and stuff he likes about Metallica, but just making it more palatable. I mean, I wanted them to do shorter songs, but, you know, be careful what you wish for. So anyway, I find this thing, and it's a real great sounding radio broadcast. Now, these fall into that semi-official, like, bootleg kind of thing. A lot of them always suck, these kind of things that you find on these streaming services. It's like, it's usually like, there's a lot of bad, you know, kind of boots like this, and they start off with radio guys talking, you know, in the South America. And then it goes into, like, you know, the radio call signs, like. But this one's good. It just starts with, like, a live album. And the sound is incredible. And it's the Injustice for All tour. Like, the end of Metallica as we knew them. Because pivoting to commerciality, which is really what it was, with the Black Album, they were never going to be the same again. That capped that off, because even if they go to commerciality, they're going to ride that out for at least a couple years, at least a couple albums, and by the time they might want to return to their old sound, it's been too long and they really can't get it back. Like, you think of something like Death Magnetic. I remember when it came out, I was like, God, this is, they're trying, but they're out of the moment. They're out of that moment, that moment they had where they are at the height and control of all their powers. The next album after Injustice for All could have been, I don't even know what it would have been. I don't know where they would have went. Now, was it the right thing to do? Of course. I mean, they did the right thing. It's just that at that point, that's the end. I didn't like Reload. I thought it felt like songs that were left off Load, and it kind of was, And then, I've been hit and miss ever since. I think I kind of like Lulu in a perverse kind of way. I'm a big Lou Reed fan. I recognize it's objectively horrible, but I enjoy it because of what it is, because in a perverse kind of way. But Saint Anger, they had I could see what they were trying to do, but it was the execution. I remember when they were first playing some of those songs on the MTV Icon show. I think they played Frantic, and I'm like, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. It was heavy, and Frantic ended up being one of the better songs on it. But his vocals he was trying to do that garage, or I'm going to go back to the punk rock roots that we never had. It's one thing to sound raw. It's another thing to be completely out of key. I don't know Bob Rock. He really let that stuff fly. I don't know what happened to him. But, and then, what do you call it? What was the next? The Hardwired Self-Destruct. It was a good try. There's some good songs on that album. 72 Seasons, the same thing. I remember Hardwired. That was around the time I saw Kirk Hammett over at International Marketplace. That place I'm always in with the escalator. I was coming down the escalator, and then so I'm standing over by where that coffee shop is. Everybody lines up for miles. Just him talking to some guy. I hadn't seen him with the gray hair yet, though. I had seen it graying like Salt and Pepper, but he had the fully gray, long hair, like white almost. And he gets a little heavy, and he had the a Hawaiian shirt on, a t-shirt underneath. And I kind of looked at him, and right away, even though it, all these differences, the white hair and stuff, I just saw that's Kirk Hammett. And as I got closer to him, I was just walking by, and I said, yeah, that's him. And when I got right next to him, I gave him a thumbs up, and I said, Kirk Hammett, and gave him a thumbs up. And he looked over at me and said, hey. And that was my big moment with Kirk Hammett. But yeah, he lives over by Pearl Harbor, around where the airport is. People see him around all the time, but I've only seen him once. He's married to one of Nia's high school friends. This fashion designer or something. I don't know. Anyway, they live in town. I've already seen him once though. But yeah, that was my big Kirk Hammett moment. And I liked that album. It was good. I've listened to it a couple times. Hardwired. And, the spirit was there, even though Kirk didn't famously add anything to that because he lost his iPhone. But he had his iPhone for the next album, 72 Seasons, it's good. They're trying. But if I'm going to listen to Metallica, I'm just going to listen to the first four. And if you're on, whatever streaming you're on, I'm using YouTube streaming, has this bootleg or semi-official. It's fucking awesome. It's a complete set from the Injustice for All tour, and it sounds amazing. And it really was the end of Metallica. There was a lot of changes going on at the end of the 80s with bands, especially metal bands. And that's a whole other video. But yeah, I just want to alert anyone that may like Metallica or like old Metallica. I was really impressed with this thing. It sounds great. The set list is great. And it's definitely the end of an era. So I just thought I'd share something with you while I was up here editing the footage from this morning. What were we talking about this morning? I'm editing it right now. And it's all the regular shit. It's about 25% magic stuff. And a lot of complaining about black people and Jewish people. You know, the regular stuff. And then just some general complaining. So yeah, business as usual. I should have that up later today though. Thanks for popping in. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.